Welcome to Squad, your favorite source for everything esports and gaming. I'm Lisa Dwan, and let me tell you what's going down tonight. Get your Ronka-S emotes ready because Ron and Brody will be debating the latest in Unmuted, and then later on in Esports in 30, the same duo will be breaking down everything Overwatch League. But before we get to that, let's look at some mods of the classic, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild in ModStars.
The Legend of Zelda Breath of Wild is one of the best games for the Nintendo Switch. Some may call it one of the best Zelda games ever made. Others, who don't say that, are wrong. But it's been over 2 years since Breath of the Wild arrived with the launch of the Switch, and while there is a lot to do in the game, that's not enough for some people. Which is why, thanks to some hacking and emulation, some players have turned to mods. Let's start with the most obvious Legend of Zelda mod, making Princess Zelda herself playable. I mean, the franchise is named after her, it makes perfect sense. But Zelda isn't the only royal you can play as in Breath of the Wild. You can play as Waluigi, who I say is the best Mario character ever. And yes, he is royalty. He's the Prince of Wah! Wanna go fast? Well, there's a Sonic mod that lets you do just that. Except it doesn't turn Link into Sonic. It turns Link into a man who's doing a bad job of dressing up as Sonic. Or you can dress up as Sanic, which is either really fun or really terrifying. I'm not sure how I feel about it yet. Of course, the mods aren't limited to just reskinning Link. You can reskin enemies too, like changing a Hinox into the lovable green ogre Shrek. Law'll do, donkey, law'll do. Breath of the Wild is an adventure game, and while it does have some action, it's not on the level of, say, Grand Theft Auto. So why not change that by bringing out GTA San Andreas protagonist Carl Johnson into the game? It's neat, but the Big Smoke Bear mod is a nice touch.
You picked the wrong house, fool!
We also can't go through ModStars without highlighting the most common mod in video games, Thomas the Tank Engine. These mods are fun and all, but there's still plenty of room for more serious mods as well. Like this next mod, which gets rid of all cell shading in the game, which makes it look like the post-apocalyptic game it really is. But do you know what looks even better? The first-person mod. I can't even make a joke about this. This is really cool, and I want to play through the entire game like this. Regardless of whether you use mods for memes or for actual gameplay changes, Breath of the Wild is filled with mods that will make exploring Hyrule a treat once again. Welcome to Unmuted. We got your gaming and esports hot topics, hot tweets, spiciest memes, and the sexiest ladies. I'm Brody Moore.
And I'm Ronald Lee. And today we're going to present all the goodies we've gathered, and we will discuss the most likely argue.
Yeah.
But you know, lucky for us all, there's a mute button that we can only use once when we want to shut each other up.
I'm hoping to use it today. I need to shut you
I'm
up.
definitely going to use it.
But shout out to chat. We like it when you call us out when we're wrong, and praise us, of course, when we're spitting truth, which is most of the time. So why don't we just jump into it? Our first story comes from the Bethesda E3 presentation. Some fans online are claiming that something seemed off with the crowd during the presentation. One notable clip shows an unenthused audience while audible clapping and cheering can be heard. Other fans have come to the defense of Bethesda, saying any suspicion of planted hype actors or fake audio are unfounded. Ron, I feel like we've seen it a couple times actually. I think we saw it during the Ubisoft one as well. Like even if it's not paid actors. Do you feel like they may even have employees in the audience that are cheering?
Oh, no, without a doubt. I mean, if I worked on a
100%.
project, right, and like I worked in this video game all the time, and like I'm in the video game industry, I'm gonna go to E3, and if I happen to be from my company's presentation, I'm gonna be like, I worked so hard for this, let's cheer really hard, because it took me a lot of effort.
What about the claims that they have paid actors out there cheering for everything?
I get that all the time from the Overwatch League. That's like, oh, paid actor, whatever, and we actually have like actors from Hollywood.
Like people say that to you? That anybody cheering for you is
or no,
paid
just
actor?
like no. Wow, thank you for that. No,
You're
but
welcome.
like in the Overwatch League arena, right? People come in, like actual actors like Josh Hutcherson or like Joel McHale or whatever, actual paid.
Well, those are paid actors. Yeah,
right?
that is very clear.
But
though.
like people in the audience in the front that are really, really excited or whatever, they say they're paid actors too, and like they're very obviously they're not. I've spoken to them. They're just enthusiastic people.
Yeah.
I think it's the same for E3. You have enthusiastic people about the video game that maybe don't share the same taste as certain other people on the internet, but let them be happy. Why we gotta always be like, they're fake?
I don't know. I'm honestly on the side that, at least for the Bethesda one, maybe Ubisoft. I do like the Ubisoft. Usually comes out with some pretty sick IPs. Because I actually have a lot of complaints about Ubisoft as well. But
I'm sure we all do.
but for Bethesda, they've obviously been through a bit of a rough period, especially Fallout 76. They haven't gotten a new engine for their games in years.
Yeah.
It seems like they're going lazy route, and they definitely had a PR situation ahead of them that they had to tackle and conquer.
Right.
And the way to do that is talk about your fans. Talk about how great they are supporting you through this all. You guys are amazing. Oh, look, there's some cheering. And now they look good. Little suspicious. We knew that you guys had a bit of a rough period and trying to make up for it. And it seems like you might have tried a little too hard that people might have seen through it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. But since we're on the topic of rough periods, let's move on and talk about Fortnite. Overwatch is on the brain. That's just me all the time.
Fair.
But let's talk about Fortnite. So yesterday, we discussed Bizzle's protest of the World Cup format, but today, it's Tfue in the news complaining. So during the World Cup qualifier, Tfue encountered a bug that froze his character in place. This led to another character getting off some free shots, and eventually Tfue did die. Tfue, already having qualified for the New York final, did comment, however, that this game is so... We can't say that anymore. It's redacted.
No, it's ish.
It's ish.
And it's real.
It's ish. But, we all know what he really said, and I'm sure, that was his honest opinion. If I was a top competitor, and that happened to me in, like, tournament play, I would freak. I would demand a pause. I would demand for, like, a replay. But not every game has a replay system.
No.
League of Legends has it, but, like, Overwatch doesn't. Obviously, Fortnite doesn't.
Fortnite's way different. And this is the thing. It's such a back and forth. It's so hard to really be on one side of the fence here, because as a competitor,
you want them to fix their game.
100% agree. 100% agree. But Epic has been very clear that this is a marketing tool for them. It is not something that they are putting all their efforts into being a true, pure esport.
Which is
be real. BRs are built,
for me.
but BRs are built off RNG. Like you have an inherent
landing at random plays. The plane trajectory is all different. Your loot's all random.
There is an inherent level of RNG you cannot get over, and with that, it is hard to actually say that we want to take a BR seriously, unless you're going to go the route of there are. I thought about this too when I was playing a lot of PUBGs. What about specific spawn locations? This area has one sniper rifle, but this area has 2 SMGs. Pick your spot, right? You can get 2 guns, or your team can get 1 gun, but it's a better gun. So I think there are ways to edge it, but they don't. It's still an RNG-based game, and Epic is very clear that this isn't a true made esport. So it's hard to get mad because it's like, I'm playing this game and
regardless of the RNG factors or whatever, if you're playing any sort of game and you sign up for like their conditions, you're like, okay, well, I'm playing a BR, I know it's random, I can deal with the randomness. But what should not be something I have to deal with is fighting the game's bugs. You should have a polished product if you're trying to make a professional esports scene. And I know, again, it's not their focus, but if it's a marketing thing, you want to make sure your game is polished.
I don't know. At the end of the day, I feel like after all this mess, we see it all the day, every day on Unmuted. just stop playing Fortnite and you're not going to have any problems.
I concur. Is it an agree button?
We need
I can't press this
an
yet.
unmute button? I don't know. Whatever. Anyways, we're next up. The end of April saw Overwatch fans gain a workshop mode for them to mess around with. There's been a lot of ingenious game modes that are already popping up, from Capture the Flag to a Flappy Bird clone. One interesting game mode is Darwin Stream's new mode, which turns Overwatch into a fighting game. Now, like, I think just overall, we actually played a bunch the other day.
There was a lot of time.
On that note, there was a Smash Brothers one we played.
Yeah.
So like,
Crossy Road was really fun.
Yeah, that was super fun and hard. But there were so many games in esports that were built, like any MOBAs, Dota, League of Legends, came from Warcraft, and you had CS:GO, you know, that came from Half-Life. Like, there's so many games in esports that were mods. So do you feel like these are the tools that people in Overwatch need to make, like, to come out with their own new fighting game? Do you see any new games, actually standalone games, being built off any of these yet?
Ooh, that's interesting. I haven't found anything that would be like so good that it spawns another creation, another IP, or a spin-off or anything. But I do love the fact that you know, Blizzard's giving players what they want, and that's the tools to make the experience their own, right? We see, like you mentioned, all those games prior, you know, breathe life into previously dead games, or, you know, games that are shorter on shelf life, and rejuvenate them and kind of spring out something new. And I really like that. I think what I would like to see more of, though, is like these workshop modes are kind of dinky. It doesn't seem like they give enough freedom for the players to do exactly what they want.
Yeah,
they can't edit the maps, for one. I would love a map editor or something like that, right?
That would change everything.
Yeah, or like give certain characters like certain other aesthetics or abilities. Do a little bit more, but that said, what they have given us is good for what we need right now.
I don't know what because I haven't done the editing of it, just played the game modes. Yeah, that's why I didn't even try. Like, it seems hard, but do you think there's ability to, like, maybe, because right now obviously there's some issues with some of the meta or whatever, like people are like, oh, it's kind of get bored. Do you think people could like try to adjust stuff and change the meta?
For sure. I've played a couple of people that have tried to do like a 2-2-2 lock, which is what people have wanted in Overwatch League to get rid of goats and stuff. So that's one fix right there, and that's really easy to implement. And like, I think given time, some people might spawn a smaller community of people that do like other little balance changes, like Project M for Smash Bros.
Do you think Blizzard would ever listen to those?
No. I mean, I love you, Blizzard, but Blizzard, you know, you gotta listen sometimes. But how about you guys all listen to me now as we talk about our next story, which is an E3 gem, which comes from Twitter user Savvy, otherwise known as Polar Panda, because he's in trouble with Nintendo. Savvy has been leaking everything from E3, including Ghostwire Tokyo and Xbox's new Scarlet console. However, Nintendo isn't having any of it and served Savvy with a cease and desist letter. It looks like Savvy is going to continue leaking info, however, but just avoid anything from Nintendo for now.
Fair. At the same time, can you give us cease and desist?
I'm not a
to
lawyer.
Leaking info? I mean, I guess, like,
how are you going to stop him really without like getting him into legal trouble? You kind of have to do that, otherwise there's no consequences.
Do you know who he is? He, she, do we know who this is? Like, how are you supposed to, you send a cease and desist to the DMs?
Yeah, okay.
Right, like what?
Hey man, happy face emoji. We heard you're leaking our stuff, sad face emoji. Please stop, angry face emoji.
Yeah, a lot of times people don't realize that a cease and desist isn't like an immediate level of, it's just saying, if you don't stop, we'll take legal action. But it doesn't always mean they have a base. Anyone can send a cease and desist to just say, I want you to stop doing this.
Do you think that Nintendo is going too far here by issuing a cease and desist in the first place?
Yeah. Here's the thing. I mean, like, you want to be protective of, like, I mean, like, imagine if the Keanu stuff had been leaked.
Oh,
right?
that would have been big.
It would have taken away so much. It would have killed everything.
Yeah.
Like, Xbox, their whole presentation, they won E3, and E3's not even over.
No.
Just because of that.
Yeah.
But if that had been leaked, the effect of that and the actual, like, force that it took the world by, like, wouldn't have been as effective. Right?
I think you have a large point that's very good, but on the small side, sometimes, like, for me, I crave the spoilers. I crave the leaks, and actually hypes me up more to see if they're verified.
They ruin things, man.
Well, it's like the same as seeing certain spoilers. So this is a little off topic, but like scientists have shown that some people, like, knowing the spoilers of movies will actually enjoy it more.
No, are you one of those people?
It depends on the type of movie.
No. Do not tell me you're like spoilers.
Not Avengers Endgame, but for like a really, like, like deep movie that has a couple messages.
If you ever try to spoil anything for me,
Darth Vader
I am going to hurt you if you even got close. I didn't even know what he was about to say. But I absolutely hate spoilers. Oh my God, this is off topic now, but if anybody, this is gonna bring people to attack me. If anyone ever spoils anything, my friend spoiled something in Uncharted one time. All he said was, spiders. And that enough ruined things for me. It's not a big thing at all, but I didn't talk to him for an entire friggin' week. I was so angry. If you spill anything for me, you are blocked, muted, and I will never talk to you again. Anyways, it is time to check in with streamers and clip it. First up, we have a clip from Stay Cozy, who should have turned his stream off before he started talking about his hacks.
I put 1.0, so it's gonna shoot anywhere between that. See what I'm saying?
I got.
So you'll still hit every shot, but it's not going to be a headshot. It's going to be anywhere in the upper body.
It's not going to be a headshot, or it's not going to just sit there and laser your body or your neck or something like that. It's just, it'll shoot randomly within those parameters.
It'll kind of like the silent aim, except your bullets will be hitting within that.
Yeah, it's 100 times better than silent aim, bro. Like I'm not one to just give a hack my full extension and give it to other people, but since I know that you're gonna keep hacking, like I just know it's gonna happen, so I'm gonna give you a hack that's undetected and you can play legit at the same time.
No.
Dude, I hate this guy.
No.
I hate this guy. I wish I could swear on this show because I would curse him out. I hate hackers so much, but for him to like have the audacity to be like, you know, I don't usually like, you know, like advocate for hacking, but I know you're gonna hack anyway. I might as well. Like,
you're hacking because you're providing them the tools for it.
Oh my god!
I'm turning this into a delete button.
Yeah, delete, like that doesn't work on me anymore. That works on you. You should be.
You are
muted forever.
gone
You should
from
go
the
to
internet.
jail. You should maybe not jail.
Actually, in China, that's illegal.
You hear that? You happy you don't live in China, bro? That is bad. Okay, like hackers give a bad name to everyone, especially for any sort of game that's trying to build like a professional scene. Apex, you know, that's trying to get there, has a ranked mode now, right? Like, and I've hated hackers in that game. It's ruined my experience. Like, I had a honeymoon phase, and then like a week after, I'm like, I don't want to play this game. It's just not fun. And it's these guys that make it so
I guarantee you,
unenjoyable.
Respawn's taking action right now, though.
Yeah.
They're not gonna let that fly. That's for sure.
Yes, I mean he needs to go like be behind bars, like lock him up, throw away the key.
Get out of here.
All right, I'm gonna try and calm down a little bit and talk about our next topic, which is about Dr. Disrespect, actually, who was feeling Just Dance's presentation during Ubisoft's E3 presentation.
Yeah!
Yo, have you seen the actual music video for this, though?
No, I don't want. I actually.
It's so good,
I want
dude.
to watch the music video now. But
Yes.
that presentation, little cringy. Dr. Disrespect's cool as always. I mean, well, not always. He's had quite a run-in with some controversy.
Yeah, he's had some issues.
But you know, that clip is kind of funny. The show itself, I don't feel like it's something I laugh with. It's something I laugh at. I don't know if like you sit on the same boat as me here, but it's not always like easy to watch. I find myself like curling my fingers and my toes a little bit.
I don't know. How would you have danced that would have been better than that?
I
think that was
don't
pretty
dance. I present Just Dance footage. I don't know. I feel like when you bring in real people that dance on stage, you have all these gamers here. It's not.
Give me a skibbity whoop bop boop bop.
No, don't. I don't know what you're
Give me a
saying.
skibbity boop bop boop bop.
Okay, that is gross. Whatever he's doing, he's going to jail now. Okay, like here's the thing. Gamers, we've had this kind of run-in where we're trying to mend like the traditional entertainment world with esports. So like Overwatch League, they got in like DJ Khaled, and I still have scars from that. That ruined the final for me. Like DJ Khaled, definitely not like compatible with the esports crowd. And this Just Dance footage, same deal, not compatible. Brody Moore, not compatible. I don't think I want to be on this desk anymore if he's going to be doing whatever are you doing? Are you still muted? Let's keep him this way for the rest of the show. Are you
back? I'll save you.
Okay, that was awful.
I'll stop.
Awful.
I'll save you by
Next
stopping.
topic.
JK. It is the best time of the day, kid, where we browse the Twitterverse to see what the pros have been up to in profound thoughts. And to start off, let's go full esports with this tweet from Tekken 7 Pro Speedkicks. He says, Dad really asked me if I'm trying to find a girl and start a family. Like, yo, I'm trying to find these skills and start a championship run. Don't distract me. That is real talk,
I
bro.
like dedication. I like the guts on that guy. You know, talking back to his dad. It's like, yo, what are you trying to do, Dad? trying to change my career path, improve my esports
I'm finna
career.
win here right now.
I'm trying to win. I'm trying to be the champion, man.
Yeah.
This reminds me of that guy from FaZe. What was his name?
Which one?
Was it FaZe Sensor? I don't know. He had like the girlfriend, Yannick Garcia. Do you remember?
Oh, that was I remember. Yeah. And then he
he's
left
like, I can't have the girlfriend. I gotta focus on going pro in COD. I don't know if there's a real story, if they've had any other complications, but
probably a publicity thing from both of them. But
yes, I agree. But I'm taking it at face value, and that's a cool thing. Dedicated
at the same time, we've also seen it, and we talk about this a lot. Was in the FGC specifically, is that we've had a few people get married, and all of a sudden they start doing really good.
Oh, married man power.
It's the married man buff.
Oh, we have to find the right girl for for marriage, right? Maybe he's like, I haven't found the right person. Don't pressure me. I know it would help, but it takes a lot of time to invest in.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe maybe it's girlfriend distraction, but then as soon as you marry her, it's good.
I'm not going to touch that
That's
with
the
a 50-foot pole. Let's move on to our next topic. Our next tweet comes from COD Pro Zuma with a bit of feels good, man. He tweets, "My grandma had surgery because of breast cancer and it went well. Makes me so happy, heart emoji, hands up emoji. She also wanted me to tell you guys she got a new titty and she loves it."
Obviously, cancer's no joke, but if you have a good perspective on it, it can help lighten the mood up.
I can see titty on the show.
That's
so mature.
He's just so happy he was able to say.
I love it.
You're actually 12.
I know
you look 12, but you're actually 12.
Hey, if the younger you are, mentally, the longer you are in the esports game, it keeps you at the peak of your performance.
Yeah, but you think you'd go past, the part where your brain's actually developed, Ron.
Titty's a funny word.
Oh my God, I'm not going to disagree.
I'm glad that she's proud of it. It doesn't matter who you are, how old you are. Everyone loves a new titty. I would love to get a new titty.
All right, you and me, new titties together.
We're gonna matching pairs.
All right, this has gone on too long. Our last tweet for the day is bargaining DM shared by Twitch streamer Seriously Clara. Just a warning, it's a little long. It says, "Hi Clara, just wanted to let you know that I submitted a code request for blank, but wanted to let you know that even if I don't get a code, I wanted to see if you'd be open to some more fun on the side. I'm not a creep. If that goes anywhere, then maybe we could meet up after E3, which I see you're going to. We could start slow, nothing scary. Let me know what you think, and if you're open to it, I'll send along my info. Please don't take offense to my secrecy. I just don't want this to hurt my chances with getting a code if it doesn't go the way I'm hoping. Thanks, looking forward to hearing from your reply. Signed, blank." I could even give together. I'm not a creep, but I see that you're going somewhere. This
is the best episode of Immunity. I'm actually legitimately crying. That was so cringy. That was so bad, mate. Come on. It's you. If you have to preface anything with, "I'm not creepy, but chances are what you're doing it's probably pretty damn creepy." And I love he signs it off. He's like, if this hurts my chances of getting a code, I really don't want it. I really want the code.
That's why I'm doing this silently.
But if you're interested, let's meet out. Let's hang out. It's really weird. It's really gross.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like he's trying to convince her that it's going to be okay. When you have to convince someone that it's not going to be scary. You're going to be okay. I'm not creepy. You're just filling in everything you're saying you are, man.
Hole, man. Your grave is knee deep now, and you're only making it worse. It's real bad.
Yeah, you're not going to date. Well, let's move on though, because it is time for some crowd controlled. You think we'd be over talking about Keanu? Nah. The good memes are just starting to roll. Here's Keanu waiting to come out on stage for E3. Oh, it's the sad Keanu. We debated you.
What is this from?
This is the Cyberpunk car, and it's the sad Keanu. You remember when he sits on the bench eating a sandwich all by himself?
No.
Sad Keanu.
Where's sad Keanu from?
The internet.
John Wick or something? It's from the internet?
It's the internet, man. When's the last time you were on the internet?
A lot, but I see a lot of John Wick memes. I haven't seen the sad Keanu. Maybe I'm not.
Okay, maybe I'm old in the meme. Sad Keanu. Sad Keanu was circa 5 years ago.
It's a vintage meme.
It's vintage memes.
Oh, I love vintage memes.
They're like mid-era meme.
Mid-era? What is mid-era?
Mid-era meme.
It's
2014 or so, 2012. That kind of era.
I was just starting to really get a footing on the internet in 2014.
Oh, you weren't even born. I forgot you're 12.
No, that's not how the math works out. That math is awful. Can I mute him again just on basis of poor math? But okay, you know what? Let's leave your math skills aside. I don't want to roast you too hard. Let's continue.
Okay.
But here, you know what? Ever tap your buddy on the shoulder to try to make them look the other way? Mm-hmm. Well, you can take it to the next level in GTA.
Oh, hey, knock knock. Who's there? It's not me. It was her. Oh! Oh! Just cranked her.
No, dude. The other guy runs away. The guy in the khakis is like, I'm out.
He's like, it wasn't me, bro. I swear.
He's like, I gotta call the police. What did he do? Did he actually tap him on the shoulder?
Yeah, he just bumped into the guy,
bumped into them,
but the guy didn't see him, so he turned around. He's like, who was it? Oh, it was this lady.
Boom!
You can trick him, whoever's in the vicinity.
Oh my God.
That lady got cranked.
I would love if something like that happened in like VR chat, where you like tap someone on the shoulder and they have like they're wearing the vest or whatever they have nowadays.
Oh, the
haptic
feedback?
Yeah, and he's like, bro, did you just touch me? I didn't give you permission to touch me. And he just like hits like this anime girl in the face because it's VR chat.
I love the
It would just be like the best. You could spawn a meme off it. It's like when the weebs walk into the room, bam, or something like that.
I don't know, but it's brilliant. We need to play some VR chat sometime. Anyways, our last post is going to deal with this new religion that us Earthlings have come onto called Keanu Reeves. Do you know the whole immortal meme? At least
the Diablo Immortal?
No. Keanu Immortal. Well, at least.
Oh yeah, because he lives forever.
He lives forever, dude.
And
now with him in Cyberpunk,
he's actually immortalized.
Forever.
Wow.
We have done it.
We've gone full circle.
As a human species, have achieved it. He's lived forever, and he will continue living forever in the digital world.
Has anyone actually verified the identities of each of those individuals?
Yeah, so actually, fun story on the back. I'd have to actually go look up the full facts, but one of those actually, I know one of those was Paul Monet, but I can't remember if it was him or the other guy in that one. That guy actually did live in Canada and then disappeared.
He disappeared.
And all of a sudden, Keanu shows up later in the the 80s or whatever.
So Keanu Reeves, we've identified today, is a vampire.
Yes.
And now he's like a digital vampire. He is like a digital vampire clone running around in Cyberpunk 2077.
All bow
Which
down
is
to
even
Keanu.
more reason to play that game. If that was the plot, could you imagine? There's like a secret hint Easter egg. It's like this guy is drinks blood and he doesn't have a reflection. It's kind of weird, don't you think?
I don't know. Press 1 in chat if you're on board for Keanu and 1 in chat if you're on board for Keanu, but that's it for Unmuted. Remember that you can always hit up with our socials just to say hey or send us stuff to react to. Check out all our socials at Squad State for everything esports.
I can't even pull it.
I'm losing blood.
I know. Dude, I can't. I'm gonna throw up. I'm about to throw up. Oh, no. Wait, the dude's totally fine. He doesn't even feel a thing.
I think this is going well.
Okay. I don't know what to do. Anyone?
Did you miss any of the action from the green room? Well, you can go catch it all right on our Twitch. And while you're there, be sure to subscribe because you'll get exclusive emotes and badges. Just in a bit, Brody and Ron will be getting you caught up on everything Overwatch League. But first, let me get you caught up with the news and reported. Evil Geniuses have released 2 of the founding members of its Rocket League division. Corrupted G and Classics have been released after a very disappointing showing in Season 7 of the North American RLCS, which ended with the team relegated into the rival series. In a statement, COO Philip Aram stated, quote, Evil Geniuses does not compete in rival, challenger, or equivalent level league play as a guiding principle. We consider ourselves to be a top-tier organization, and as such, expect our teams to compete at the highest level possible in the respective games. Evil Geniuses will be retaining Australian player Drippe, who signed with the team prior to Season 7, and became the first cross-region player in Rocket League history. Evil Geniuses finished the RLCS league play in 7th, and were relegated to the rival series after losses to the Peeps and Splice. The team then went on to a surprising semi-final appearance at DreamHack Dallas, but clearly this last strong showing wasn't enough to prevent the roster move. As part of its press conference at E3, Microsoft announced that it had purchased Double Fine Productions, adding another studio to its growing catalog of first-party developers. Double Fine was founded in 2000 by Tim Schafer and is well known for its quirky, unique games including Psychonauts, Brutal Legend, Stacking, and Broken Age. As part of the deal, Double Fine is assuring fans that it will fulfill all its current obligations, including the upcoming release of Psychonauts 2, to crowdfunders on the platform they originally choose, before focusing on Xbox and PC releases. Schafer also assured fans that becoming a part of Microsoft will not change the unique spirit that Double Fine represents, and that they would continue to make games in their own wacky style. With the creativity of Double Fine now fueled with the money of Microsoft, the future seems very bright for Schafer fans all over. Who's ready for a new League of Legends game mode? Introducing Teamfight Tactics, a new mode that will be released on June 25th. The mode is a round-based strategy game that pits a player against 7 others in a race to build a powerful army. Players will spend gold to recruit League of Legends champions to their team. Throughout the match, players will be able to combine identical champions to form super and ultimate versions of the champion. When battling an opponent, champions will move, attack, and cast spells automatically, meaning players won't have to worry about missing a skill shot. The game ends when there is one person last standing. If this sounds familiar, you're not wrong. The new mode was heavily inspired by the Dota mod Auto Chess that exploded in popularity earlier this year. Since then, there are already a lot of copycats, with Drodo Studio, the original developer of the mod, releasing its own standalone version of the game later this year. However, Teamfight Tactics will introduce new features to differentiate it from Auto Chess, and in the development notes, Riot says that it plans to add a ranked system in the future. So for all of you who always wanted to get into League of Legends but wasn't a fan of the classic MOBA mode, this may be a great mode to dip your toes into.
Neither team with a Graviton Surge.
This is going to be fun. There you go. Hey, there you go. Perfect play from Mono.
Looks to put a map on the board. Highly just trying to buy a little bit more time. But it doesn't really matter. As soon as the Transcendence expires, it might just be it. Bubble
Grab is good, though.
Down the grab.
The grab is good, though.
It's going to be taken out. Hagaman's going to be going down. The beat comes in. Dynasty. Can they actually do it?
No way.
He gets the right click against all odds. They look to turn this one around. The shatter comes through. Zephyr trying to beam them down. He'll get knocked up into the air. The OT plummets away. And oh my God, Dynasty.
Pull up a seat and maybe stay a while because you're watching Esports in 30, the show where we take a deep dive into your favorite games. Now, clearly, I'm not AJ Fry, who is usually here, but he has at E3 this week. But thankfully, we do have Renanthra on the couch, who is a specialist, and I definitely need that help.
Yes, I mean, here's the thing. We played Overwatch together.
Yes.
Right? We did some workshop modes and stuff.
I feel bad for you.
And I do too. But it's okay because, you know, I'm here to like hold your hand through this whole experience, right? Like if there's any characters you don't understand or any maps you don't know, that's what I'm here for.
That's almost everything. So why don't we jump into week 1 of stage 3 and check out some highlights.
Looks to put a map on the board. Highly just trying to buy a little bit more time. It doesn't really matter. As soon as the Transcendence expires, it might just be it. Bubble
grab is good, though.
Down the grab.
The grab is good, though.
He's going to be taken out. Hagaman's going to be going down. The beat comes in. Dynasty. Can they actually do it?
No way.
He gets the right click against all odds. They look to turn this one around. The shatter comes through. Zephyr trying to beam them down. He'll get knocked up into the air. The OT plummets away. And oh my God, Dynasty.
Team though may hurt things for the Paris Eternal. We'll see if he survives. It doesn't look like it's going to be self-destruct, but he goes down before he can get it off. Alamau just getting blown up. Point blank, not you going to work. There's 3 and 4 long range.
How aggressively are they?
Oh, they're playing it super aggressively.
They're doing it. Nobody would have expected the EMP to be there. Full team EMP from Eileen. Crab comes through. Man-to-mind Scion player right up here into the front. The car is still advancing. Are they not paying attention to this one? Tommy, he's just rolling in. He gets the move back. And he basically backdoors the cart.
The defensive instinct works out so well. He's already got primal range up. Just gonna pop it right away. Loose balls. Everyone purple anti-heals. That is a one-team fight. Rally comes down, but Nico's using it just to run back idea to go in. Now neither team with a Graviton Surge.
This is going to be fun. There you go. Hey, there you go. Perfect play from Mono.
From those darts and now Shawfar, he's in a great spot to get the damage done. And from long range, the Mortifier rings in and he gets 2 for 1 in the last shot. Shawfar with 4.
This is it for Paris. There it is. The counter coming in. Losing the South Barrier does not waste time. Gods of the self-destruct over the top and gets the triple.
3 years. Huge check.
Slam. There it is. Barrage pin. And this time Jace gets the value. Full 3 plus a D-Mech on Nene.
The sustain up front from Paris still looking good. Gray with the switch.
Oh, Gray with the clutch. Headshot on Ivy too. Dodge goes down. This is it. Paris Eternal, they'll get the job done. Heck.
And then gets 2 kills on the way out. Chungju's still taking the point right now. They gotta get on the point here.
Another minefield.
Yeah, finally Rio gets it with the minefield. He got so long.
Oh, wow.
Great play from the McCree. He gets 4 in the end, and that's gonna be point A in style. It's over. As they continue to shrink back 1-1 here. Listen puts 2 on the board. Trying to scrape a victory. Trying to get into A. A triple kill. A quadra kill.
There were some close calls, some clutches, and some throws, and boy, is it good to have the OW back, is it not, Ron?
Yeah, we're halfway through the entire season, right? You know, stage 3 is a big time for everybody because obviously if you shut down now, you're not making it to those final season playoffs, obviously. So here's the big thing, right? We haven't changed meta in a while. Stage 1 and 2 were a lot of goats. And you watch this weekend with me, we saw a lot of goats still. Tiny little bit of variances, but largely still a bunch of tanks.
Yeah.
Imagine, you know, we play tanks throughout the rest of this stage, and then we go to stage 4 and they actually shift the meta. That'd be pretty chaotic.
Okay. We'll talk about that in a minute, but I want to talk about the actual teams right now, what we've been seeing. Is that maybe the reason that we've seen some of these bottom teams keeping up with some of the top teams, do you think?
The reason I said that before is because I think a couple of teams now we're watching in stage 3 starting to get like a little bit more practice on the kind of their guys that were good in the DPS meta. And, you know, just in case of like a curveball here, because it has happened in the first season.
Well, let's talk some of the first notes we have here is NYXL and Houston. Can you talk to me about that match? It was really close as well, was it not?
Yes, it ended in it went the distance, full 5 maps, which is not what you'd expect from a New York game against Houston. You know, Houston though have a reputation for choking, right? I think a lot of their fans are very frustrated because they're like, oh, you know, we love you. We see you go so far against all these good teams, and then you get to the 5th map and it's just a nosedive in quality of play.
What is it? Like, what's happening?
I don't know. I'm not in the locker room.
Is it nerves? Do they realize? Like,
I'd be excited.
Is it a case of they thinking it's going to happen, so it happens?
Maybe like
self-fulfilling prophecy.
Let's say you're the underdog, right?
Yeah.
You go against these giants, the top 3, the big 3 in Overwatch League.
Yeah.
You know, you should be proud and amped to get this far. And then I guess some of them might just crack under the pressure.
Exhaustion too. I mean, like.
Yeah, I mean it's a long series, right? But this was a good series for a couple of reasons. New York, they actually had their captain come back into the lineup. His name is Sabiobi. He was the self-proclaimed best tracer in the world in season 1, and he hasn't played because, you know, all these tanks around. He doesn't play tanks. But sliding in, they replaced Meko, their typical diva player, put him on Sombra, and we had this kind of discussion about Sombra goats and then it rising in popularity. And New York wasn't a team that actually liked the Sombra variant until this week. And the Houston game looked rocky in the Sombra, and you know, Sabiobi is kind of rusty. But he did seem like he was learning that character live on air and becoming progressively better as the maps went on.
So now that you just brought it up, before we dive into more teams, let's talk on that meta right now, because it has been just the goats for so long.
Yes.
And I feel like just as a spectator, it kind of slows things down. I feel like people have to be frustrated.
For better and worse, right?
I've loved seeing Sombra jump into this now. Seeing the Sombra goats is like, oh, there's actually like DPS going on here.
Yeah, a little bit.
Are we going to see more teams start to really adapt this, or are they just kind of getting ready to full throw DPS in here?
Okay, so that depends on the team you're asking, right? We've seen a couple of teams really adopt this Sombra playstyle. And we've seen others say, you know, like, we don't want to cheese it. We just want to play the classic traditional variant. And it's up to your philosophy, I guess. We've seen teams even make swaps to make this happen, where they weren't happy with a certain playstyle or needed a breath of fresh air. Note from Boston Uprising going to Dallas with his very staple diva play allowed them to play that style, whereas Dallas Fuel gave them RCK, who is a great diva, but also a great Sombra. And weirdly enough, we haven't seen
that.
Yeah, right, but we haven't seen, oddly enough, RCK been put on the Sombra, even though that's kind of what we assumed the trade would be for. We can talk a bit more when it gets there.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, yeah, I guess it depends on what the coaches want, the players' comfortability, and I guess you know, how confident they are playing a traditional style against the big 3 that we know are so good.
What about Bunker then?
Yeah.
Like we're also seeing Bunker. Like the goats isn't like the only full thing we're seeing. We've seen some Bunker being thrown in there too. Is that kind of just a variant of this, or like how's this taking place in the meta right now with Bunker.
Okay, so Bunker is not a variant of Goats. Obviously, the mainstays of that composition are Orisa, either Torbjorn or Bastion. Bastion most prominently.
Just set up a turret and send her.
Yeah, and then you have Baptiste there to throw the little invulnerability lamp to keep you safe in the case of a dive. And I absolutely hate this play style. It's so boring. It's Resident Sleeper. You're sitting there and you want to see like these cool rotations or these cool set plays. But when your set play is, we're gonna sit here. It is not fun.
Top of the payload.
Yeah,
and
it's just
wait. Yeah.
So boring. It's so boring.
Is it? I feel like it's still a little more interesting though because at least there's damage being done.
Sure, yeah, but like
as someone that likes to shoot things, at least I get to see that.
I see your argument, and here's why I'm gonna shut it down.
Okay.
Is because your damage dealer is holding down left mouse and looking straight.
That's so skillful.
It's not skillful.
Bastion is the hardest character to play.
oh yeah?
No,
Do you want
I'm
to
kidding.
elaborate on that?
I have no more argument for this.
If they dive me, I have to hold right click now and heal myself for a little bit.
That's hard, man.
And if they're not on me, I have to hold left click. It's a really hard decision.
It's a hard knock life.
Well,
so let's leave them be. We'll stop harping on them for a bit.
Okay.
I do want to talk about some new rosters here.
Yeah.
So Toronto, first off, we'll start with Gods and Sharik.
Yeah.
Just how are some of these new guys performing right now?
So in the first match, they did unfortunately lose to Paris, and the scoreline was 3-1, but it was closer than that scoreline indicates.
Yeah.
And Gods and Sharik, the new guys coming from Montreal Rebellion, played pretty well actually. They definitely weren't the reason they lost, but it is evident that there were still miscommunication going from full Korean to mixed.
Well, that's what I was going to say. These are the first non-Koreans on the team. Is this a communication issue then? Do you think is throwing into the mix?
Yeah, no, I definitely think that's a big element there. We've seen in their behind-the-scenes videos that their head coach Bishop has talked about them trying to streamline communication to make it efficient, hopefully in a way that actually is even better than if they're just communicating in full Korean all the time.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess you don't want to rely on just like straight up comms.
Yeah,
so you want to have something that's cleaner, something that's simpler
like
that can
code
work.
or something like that, like military.
Shrieks just. What does that mean?
Well, okay, here's actually I've heard the Korean teams do this where when they're targeting someone, they don't have time to say the full name, especially because a lot of them are English names, so they're hard to roll off the tongue for them. So they'll only say the first syllable. Okay. So for Reinhardt, you hear Rein.
Oh yeah. That makes sense.
The best one is when there's a Lucio. You go lu, and it's just madness.
It's just this beautiful orchestra.
Yeah, it's like syllables. 6 people going lu at like different pitches.
That's so good. Okay, so some other players, of course, on the Valiant, we have Fact Fiction, McGravy, and Shax.
Yeah.
How are they looking? Is it the same kind of situation, just warming up?
So this is a big trade between Valiant and Florida. Florida getting Fate out of the deal as their main tech instead, and I think that Valiant actually got the much better end of the deal here, right? They got to get Fate, who was rumored to be kind of problematic in the locker room in the mixed culture, get him out of there, get some awesome Western players from Mayhem Academy. And although we only saw Fact Fiction play over the weekend, Shax and McGravy not getting the playtime yet, Fact looked spectacular. You can see a lot more unity in his direction, which is great because we haven't seen that from Valiant since the first season.
Now, you mentioned something, I'm curious from a coaching perspective, when you have a player that is harder to synergize when it comes just to working with a team, just personality-wise, is it easier to fix that if they're a good player than to have someone that just works well emotionally with a team but isn't as skilled?
So, I mean, I'll throw a question back at you.
Okay.
Would you rather have a player that was top echelon, amazing, like mechanically, but kind of difficult to, we'll be frank, he's kind of old kind of.
Okay.
Or would you rather have a guy that's an excellent team player, always giving his best and, first into the gym and last out?
But giving your best doesn't get wins. What if that's that person's skill cap?
Arguably. Well, okay, I mean, there's a lot of rules in this game that aren't super mechanically intensive that still have a high impact. Like if you're on main support or something, you can see the difference if they're better, like mechanically, but a large contribution for you will be things like timing and like corralling the team and making plays.
Positioning and all that.
And that's much better if you're just a better team player. Right?
So I guess your question is answering my question with you'd rather have someone that you can work on their mechanics.
There's a balance, right?
Okay.
You don't want a bunch of great guys that are awesome at teamwork, but their overall level is just so low, right? We've seen a couple of teams kind of go in this direction where they all love each other and they're all really good, but they just can't break out on a level of skill. We've seen the opposite where teams really compound all their skill, but just are a mess for a while until they get things, synergized. I'd personally find the middle balance where you get kind of like 3 and 3.
Well, obviously you want the middle balance, but it's like
I know it's a cop-out answer, but it's the best answer.
Fine. All right, let's move on though and talk about Paris, because so far they've come out swinging right now.
Yeah,
and they've started most of their stages pretty strong.
Yeah, and then tippered a little bit down. But I don't think we're going to see that from them this stage because here's a big difference is that when they're winning the games in a few other stages where they're against kind of like shaky teams and the games were wholeheartedly convincing, their GOATS was good enough to snatch the victory but not good enough to look like clean. But it looks pretty clean this time around. And they had a couple of clutch moments, which is, again, crucial factor.
It seems like their Zarya play stepped up.
Yes, Danye looked great on Zarya, and Gray,
switching to Widow
at
moments, right?
Straight up against Toronto at the last point of Havana, which is really hard to break. Toronto's right about to push it through, and Gray's like, my Widow's better than yours. I'm just going to win the game. Swaps and slingshots up, kills like 2 people.
How do you weigh the risk then of switching off of a support for that DPS?
I would almost never actually recommend it as a set play. I think it's really, really risky. I think it's much better to be methodical and drill certain set plays for when you're behind that scenario, knowing what target to go on, knowing what formation to be in. But having that clutch factor, and I guess
if someone's feeling it, like your flicks are on.
Yeah, I'm not gonna tell him not to do it if he's like, I could just win now.
Today.
Then I'll be like, okay, but we've seen players, try this here and there and just like haven't succeeded and set your team back. So it is risky. It worked out for Paris this time, but I'm hesitant to say like this is something they should always do, especially if teams start preparing for that sort of
I guess that's something you can weigh with a player like that though, because he plays on his off, so it's fairly similar. Fairly similar. Not exactly, but it's fairly similar. So if he's like, guys, I'm on point. I'm not missing anything.
He hasn't missed a shot as Ana, and he's like, I can transition this. This is pretty transferable. I could see that happening.
I'd be happy to see that. As I said, I love when I can see any more DPS in a match.
And like again on Havana, like that's a map that Widow's very good on too. So I don't think this is something that Gray will do like all the time. It just happened to be applicable in this scenario, and he was confident enough that like he could pull off that clutch play. I'm really, really skeptical that he's going to bring it out on every map suddenly on last point. So it worked out in this perfect little bubble scenario.
Okay, so let's talk about the Fusion now. I've heard a bit of confusion by some people as to why they're keeping a certain player benched right now.
Oh, yeah, and, the drama.
Yeah,
the drama.
So why do you think this is happening?
Okay, well, rumor has it that star player Carpe, Korean superstar, right, Widowmaker, amazing extraordinaire, doesn't like playing with Fraggy, who is a European main tech on their team. He'd rather play with their Korean main tech Sato, and Sato has been. He's been getting bullied. He hasn't been looking like on the same page with a lot of his team, even if Carpe prefers him in the roster. So there might be a divide, a chasm that is split in the Fusion locker room. And this is again not confirmed, but it seems pretty evident that even the casters are kind of like, Sato's not cutting it. Like, would you at least give Fraggy a try? And they just haven't responded whatsoever. He's MIA.
So the question then comes is like, as coaching staff or just support staff behind the scenes, is there a point? Because obviously you need to make sure that
getting 4-0 blown out by Spark should be the point where you're like,
when do you step in? Because like it's obviously you have to let your players have a lot of the things that they want because they're doing the work, right? But at some point you have to say, man, we need you to let this guy in.
Yeah, I mean, like, so here's this is a little bit of off topic, but when it comes to coaching, there's a few different styles, right? There's the kind of the style where you're more of like a dictator, where it's like what you say, you tell them what to do, they're expected to learn and prepare what you're saying.
Whiteboard play coach, you're drawing the plays and they're executing.
Perfect. And then you have the middle ground one, where it's more of a democracy, where you have expectations and things you want them to accomplish, and the way in which you go about accomplishing them is more of a compromise. And then you have a free locker room, or you have the players kind of run the show, and you're there to make sure things don't go too bad. You're there to quell disagreements and arguments. And as of right now, I can't tell what Fusions is doing, because it seems like it's different depending on who you are, right? They're seeming to play favorites because whatever Carpe wants, he's the star player, he gets. But the other guys have expressed dislike for, not the coaching staff, but I think rosters, both across their main teams and in their academy teams, actually. So
I just feel like at some point that top player privilege has to kind of be kiboshed. The coach has to say.
I agree.
You got to listen to us.
Unless he's like Faker or something, and he's like world star. Yeah, but like even in scenarios like that, there has to be some respect for
for the coaching staff. Exactly.
Yeah.
Now I want to talk about something that's been interesting. Seoul they have way too many subs, but they're
not subs anymore.
Yeah, that's true. So they're actually using like a 12-man roster
which
right
is
now.
absolutely insane. I think this
How do you coach that?
You have a lot of coaches.
Right.
You have head honcho. You got a couple assistant coaches that follow the formula. They believe in the goal. They believe in the message and the vision. And it seems successful. They're very unified, and they have set rosters, set entirely different teams. 6 guys here, 6 guys there, to prep for certain matches based on playstyle.
Okay.
And if this succeeds, which again, they 2-0 this week in terms of matches, does seem like it's succeeding. Makes them incredibly difficult to scout and prepare for. And I don't think I've actually seen this in any other esport where you have two
set rosters for anything. No.
Yeah, it's like definitely not Rocket League.
For the most part, yeah.
Definitely not in like League or Dota.
I've seen rosters where they'll have one player that they'll throw in for a certain situation.
Not
a whole new roster though.
Absolutely crazy.
I mean, honestly, do you think we're going to see this happen with more teams? Because it kind of makes sense. It's expensive, but it makes sense.
It's a big investment, and it could blow up in your face because some of the players that need more improvement might not be getting the attention they need. You might have some issues with personality, or like people are wanting to transcend the line.
That's true, yeah.
But if this works out beautifully, right, you have 2 teams that can scrim within and kind of prepare and make sure that you don't leak any sort of strats. You have some secret curveballs in there. Teams have to spend so many more hours like scouting you and preparing for each of your little iteration. And here's the big thing. It's not just like Seoul has 2 separate 6 guys that only play with each other. We've seen them in prior stages mix and match.
Yeah.
So you never know exactly what they're gonna do. You can scout like a full 6 and the full 6 on this side, but what if that week they decide to maybe switch 1 or 2
switch them out,
and mix the styles? It's so difficult to prepare for. I wouldn't even know.
That could be so volatile even for your own team, I suppose, right?
Yeah, you got to really make sure this is like nailed down. And they've had that little break between stages that I think do it. And I'm optimistic that this will work out. And I would love to see in the future every team eventually with the budgets get 12-man rosters and have such an intricate dynamic. It's money's the big
eventually.
The
but now, enough about the teams. I want to talk about your preferences here.
Okay.
I heard you mention about Havana before, and I feel like you're not fully on board.
Map.
Beautiful,
gorgeous map.
Just not when you're trying to play on it, right?
No, it's pretty unfun from my experience because maps laid out into 3 parts.
Are the players thinking the same thing? Because it just debuted.
A lot of players are struggling a lot to get a grasp on how this map is supposed to be played. So Ghost is meta. You play tanks all the time, right? But in the first one, you have this really long stretch where it's perfect for sniper sight lines. So some teams have been experimenting with bunker there.
Yeah.
And the first point for 1 is very difficult to crack. But then that's not even the hardest part. You usually spend a lot of time on the first, but making into second with a low time back is super difficult because it weaves around. There's a lot of obstruction just sitting in the middle of the map with these giant silos, and there's these flanks that kind of go around into the high ground, but you see just the back of the enemies. It's really
is it built for a new meta though? I feel like that's so good for a
good
DPS
for Ghost
that
on the
wants to
second
hide
point,
though.
and awkward to transition from Ghost to the first, which is I guess good if they're trying to make it so you have to switch to a different comp on each point. Diversify the play. But Overwatch is a game that's built on ultimates. And ultimates are so strong that switching off and losing all your ultimate charge to do a new comp is, even though if your comp might be better in the long run against the enemy comp, once you outbeat them in economy, games don't usually last all that long for you to whittle out their economy, build up your own at a brand new comp. Let's say you're on GOATs, and you run through the first point, right? And you have all your ults ready. You have maybe 2 or 3 fights, even if the ratio of you winning is kind of slim, to pull it out with a big ult or something and make a hero play. If you wholesale swap your comp to something that works better, even if your comp might be better, they'll beat you just because ultimates are so strong in this game. Which makes, again, Havana very difficult to, you have to pick your poison, right? So we run through this with GOATs on the first point, make it really hard for us, but have this strength to muscle out with ults on the second, even though the terrain's kind of awkward? Or do we play a more DPS-y comp on the first, make it to the second, and then have to switch GOATs, and then play from behind for 3 or 4 fights?
Okay, Ron, I'm gonna get you to rant more to me about later when we're playing, but right now I need us to close out our week 1 talk with your player of the week.
All right, my player of the week goes to, we talked about him a little bit.
Yes.
Sabe Yolby on the NYXL. We're loving to have this married man back on the roster, right? He has his ring in, his brain side on
It's a
straight.
marriage power, dude.
It is.
We see it across all
it's
esports.
the power of love, right? He's on Sombra. He's like, I hack you for my wife, and then hits the big EMP. I don't know if that is like the source's power. I'd like to hope it is because it's so wholesome.
Yeah, I like wholesome.
Honestly,
so we'll take it.
honestly, we should credit him for the effort he's put in over these past few weeks in the training room. I know it's not easy to pick up a new hero, especially in the Overwatch League when expectations are set so high. He's spoke a little bit in a brief interview about he's having a little bit of depression. He's like, oh, I was so good in this one meta, but now we're not playing me, and as a player, you stagnate if you don't get playtime. So he's like, at one point, I even thought about quitting.
Wow.
Yeah, but he's like, I'm happy to be back and happy to put in the effort and kind of making my mark and having this 2-0 week.
That's a feel-good story.
It is.
I like it.
Yeah,
I
married
agree
man,
with that
2-0 week, good stuff.
All right, now we just have a couple minutes left. This is just you and me. I want to talk about something fun, some jerseys. I've seen, well, I haven't actually seen them, but I've heard that there's some jerseys. It's kind of like their
third kit collection.
Yeah, exactly. Just to, I guess, respect the cities that they're based in. And kind of pull on the heritage. So I want to take a look at a couple of these. I'm going to judge them. And then get your thoughts. Because I heard you put a tier list out, right?
I did.
Okay. So first up is our Florida. So let's take a look at this.
Okay.
Oh, I actually really like this one.
Yeah, it's the Vice colors.
It's the Miami, that whole Miami Field Vice,
Yeah,
you know what?
This is the top of my tier list. I put this at my number one.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I'm glad I like it then.
Yeah.
No, that is clean.
It is so nice. The colors are beautiful. It's not too much either. It's not cluttered. It's very clean. This is my number one.
The minimalism of it.
Yeah.
And the neon.
The color scheme is much better than their pretty ugly.
What's that 90s?
Yeah, the 90s.
Oh, you're talking about the original.
Yeah.
That's way better.
The inverse Shanghai colors is
just
not happening. These all the time. I wish it wasn't limited. I wish they just wore it constantly. But they're gonna get a color change soon apparently. Which is, if that happens, we get that stuff all the time, which is great.
Okay, I like that. All right, now we got to take a look at the next one. It's the Gladiators.
Purple still.
I'm not a super fan of this one.
In this image, it's a little kind of hard to tell, but they are a lot of flares of kind of like skulls and stuff that kind of represent Latino culture in LA.
Yeah.
So they're kind of
I guess that's why you got like the graffiti style writing and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. You're getting the idea. It's more subtle and it sticks to their original colors.
Yeah.
So I think it's okay.
It's okay. That's what I'm saying. It's like it's not like it's gross or anything.
Yeah.
It's just cool.
It doesn't stand out a ton. It's like kind of subtle, but that's probably what they're going for. So on that level, I think they succeeded.
All right.
Yeah.
Next one up, I think, is the Shock. Yeah. Okay. Oh, there's a lot going on there.
Yeah. You want to talk about that?
there's a lot going on. I'm shocked that someone would allow this to go through.
Boo. Well, Sinatra looks great. He's a great model.
Well, no, he looks fine.
The shirt.
Nothing wrong with him.
The shirt a little.
Why the orange?
Their colors are orange and like gray.
Yeah, but it looks like someone spilt a paint bucket.
Yeah, it looks like a Jackson Pollock painting. But
it just happened to kind of be in like camo.
Yeah.
I assume that was at the bottom layer, low down.
I think if you're trying to like be in a scenario where you need camouflage, that you wouldn't want to go with that color scheme.
Yeah.
It's pretty loud, but not in a way that like makes me want to scream for them. Makes me want to scream, "What are those?" But like for a shirt.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not a fan of that one. So let's move on. I think Fusion should be our next one. Okay, is it just a ref jersey?
Yeah, definitely. I don't know what they're really going for here. The font's pretty boring.
Yeah, what's
hard to see.
What heritage are they?
Don't know. don't really see.
Yeah, that's a D.
That's a D. That's a D on my list as well. I don't know. I mean, their colors are like orange, black, and white. They get the black and the white.
But that's just black and white.
And
you look like a
the vertical
referee.
stripes. Yeah, you got it.
Like you don't get to play anymore.
No,
You're a ref
six of them are just all refs now.
All right, let's keep it close to home here and talk about the Defiance. Now this is nifty. It's like I like the again the minimalism. I love minimalism. It's kind of weird how it's
though, at the same time
off-centered off the top though. Like it almost looks like those baggy shirts that Bieber wears.
Yeah.
Is that
we're gonna say
for?
Bieber? I don't want to. I mean, he's Canadian. But like, here's the thing. If you notice on the shirt, it says, we call this 6, right? It says 6 on all these different little languages.
Yep. Because it's a very diverse
city
area. Yeah. Toronto's very diverse.
So here's what I'm like. I love the design, but I didn't know this until fairly recently. That knocks it down a peg a bit for me. but a few of the words like translated out.
Are they translated wrong?
They're like they use like Google Translate, and they they don't mean 6 correctly in like the context that like it intended.
Oh yeah, but that's the thing is English is like you can just say a word and it'll probably make sense because there's no real rules you can follow.
Right.
But in some languages, the word, depending on how you're talking to someone, about someone, around someone,
sure.
even their name can change.
It varies a lot, and like a couple of people were like, "Oh, they're $100. They're $100 USD, so it's like $100 something dollars." Anyways, I'm not gonna be angry about the economy.
Get someone to translate.
But yeah, at least get like a proper dude to translate the thing. I love the jersey. I love the design. Get whoever's in charge of like translation, like talk to them.
Yeah, I feel like I appreciate the concept. I feel like they could have done it just a little bit better, though.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Yeah.
Now, okay, we're almost out of time here, and so I do want to get your thoughts on this. We talked about this on the show the other day. Overwatch 2. There are reports coming out now that they shut down
Rest in peace,
an
StarCraft
FPS.
Ghost.
Yes,
Yeah.
StarCraft FPS.
Yeah. The second time apparently.
Yeah, rip them again. For Overwatch 2,
Poor guys.
I feel like some people might be a little bit upset at that. Now, some people, I heard some devs saying that there's going to be like a Left 4 Dead feel. Yeah,
more
like
PvE.
are the pro players going to have to move to this? Like, what are your thoughts
You're
here?
asking me as if I'm in the.
No, I know. But like, what are you
Okay.
thinking? Like,
So first thoughts. I love Left 4 Dead. I have like every single achievement for Left 4 Dead 1.
So you're all for
and
this?
Almost all of them for Left 4 Dead 2. Awesome game. I'm for the PvE aspect. I love lore as well. I would love for them to expand on the universe. We've seen Blizzard really push like toys and like shows and comic books and stuff and trying to get it like out as a larger thing than just a video game. And I think to push a sequel that focuses more on lore would be good for that.
Oh, I want more lore. They do such a good job with their characters.
Yeah, great universe, great
Absolutely.
universe. For like a competition kind of angle, like I'm confused in the same way that you are.
Okay.
Like, do you have these players move from Overwatch League, playing Overwatch 1 to Overwatch 2? Is Overwatch 2 really similar to Overwatch 1, where it's the same game, but with like a bunch of extra stuff? Like in the way like I guess fighting games are, where it's like basically the same game with minor adjustments. But, like story mode or arcade modes or towers or something. I don't know. I like the idea of longevity for the sake of my career.
Of course,
right?
No kidding.
But there's a lot of logistical kind of things that have to answer here. Yeah. I mean, did you like? Let's say they said created Rocket League 2, right? If it's
but there's no reason to.
Exactly.
And that's how I feel about Overwatch.
Yeah, me too. But like, let's say they added more for Rocket League, which is weird because they're cars. Then you would probably be a little bit more excited for an aspect that's new and like fresh.
Yeah, but I don't know what it would be. We'll have to talk about it another time on a Rocket League show.
It's like the Cars movie, Cars 4.
Yes, exactly. But we are out of time right now. But you will be back next week, of course, and so will AJ to talk week 2. Until then, ping us on all the socials and tell us what you think of Overwatch 2 rumors. Peace, and we'll see you in the future.
So much Overwatch League action. Thank you so much, guys, for getting us caught up. And of course, shout outs to Red Bull as well for fueling us in the green room. Remember, we'll be back tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern time playing more games in the green room. And then back that night at 8 p.m. with the new Unmuted and an FGC Esports in 30. And trust me, we have a lot of great guests for this one, so you don't want to miss it. Until then, you can catch us on all our socials at Squad State. We'll see you tomorrow.